Hey guys, it's Shelly. So most of the time when someone contacts me, it is about their credit. They're trying to figure out how to fix their credit, how to improve their credit, how to repair their credit, restore, whatever you want to say. But it's mostly about credit. Most of the time people don't contact me initially about how to make a budget or how to save or anything like that. But a lot of times it comes back to that. So the first thing that we're going to do with credit is do what I said in the previous video, which is get your credit report, one of your free credit reports from annualcreditreview.com. I will have you go request that. You have to fill out some identity information, and then I'll have you use the print option or the save option so that you can print it in a PDF form so that it will be something that we can look at together. What that credit report is telling me is what are the credit report agencies seeing that they formulate scores with, so they formulate profiles with, so that's what when people are checking your credit, this is all the information is formulating the information that they're getting so that they can make these decisions. So if you're getting denied for things or if your credit score is low, it's not so much about the score or about the denial as much as what is influencing that. So we're going to go through that credit report and figure that out. That credit report tells me your history with debt, your history with your finances, all the way up to, what has last been reported. But after we look at that, we learn what's in your past. I need to look at what is currently going on in your situation. So are you currently making ends meet? Are you currently paying your bills on time? Because if you're not currently making ends meet, if you're not paying your bills on time, there's no point in really looking at your credit. Well, there's a point in looking at your credit report, but there's no point in dwelling in repairing your credit report when there is still negative information that is reporting or is going to be reporting in the future. So we're trying to get that in control. So a lot of times that comes down to prioritizing bills. So if you continue watching, I'm going to go through how I decide how to prioritize bills and how I suggest other people to do that as well. So yeah. All right, guys. Sorry for my shaky hand. I haven't figured out a better way to do this just yet. So this is for the situation. You want to fix your credit. You want to improve your credit, whatever it is. But right now, you're not making ends meet. Right now, there are things that are payments that are being missed or things going into collections right now. You need to figure out a solution to that so that you can get ahead or get on track of things. And then we can move forward with looking at how we can remedy some of the things that have happened in your past. So the first thing I say is always to communicate. I don't know if you can see that. Communicate. So if you're having trouble paying bills, if you're having trouble making deadlines and due dates, the first thing you need to do is communicate before it happens, right? So a lot of people, when we get bill collectors calling or debt collectors calling, we automatically want to ignore the call. But let's say if there's something that you have a bill that's coming up, the best thing to do is to get ahead of it. If you know you're not going to have that payment by the due date, contact the bill collector and try to figure out what you can negotiate. Can you negotiate a later date? Can you make up a payment arrangement? What you can do to so that they know, hey, I'm struggling right now, but I want to do the right thing moving forward and I want to pay you what I owe you. So let's make a plan. So negotiate the terms. If it's a certain bill that you're constantly missing or you're constantly late on, maybe you can negotiate the terms of the due date. So telling the debt collector, not the debt collector, the bill collector, hey, I'm usually late because I get paid on this day and I haven't figured out a system yet so that I can pay it on time. Can we move it from being due on the 1st to being due on the 15th because I get paid in between then and then I'll be on time? A lot of different bill collectors will do that for you. And also assess priorities. So one part of getting on track is prioritizing. If right now, especially when you're trying to fix your credit, it's a priority that you don't continue to have negative things reported on your credit. There's no point in us going through and trying to remedy old missed payments, old collections and stuff like that when stuff is still getting reported to collections. So we're going to prioritize to make sure not only that your well-being is set, but that the bills that you may not be able to pay right now aren't the ones that are going to be continuing to injure your credit. So for prioritizing bills, this is what I usually like to do. I like to make a diagram for highest priority to lowest priority, and there'll be lines between it. So how do you know what's a high priority versus a low priority? Let's say housing. Anything that's going to keep you with a roof on your head and utilities in the house is a priority, right? Income and employment. Any bills that like transportation, gas, stuff like that, even though gas is a little bit flexible, you need to be able to at least get to the job that pays you, because if you're not getting paid, none of this really matters because you're not able to pay anything anyway. Insurance is important for obvious reasons. If you're in North Carolina, you know that you need insurance, or else other penalties and stuff happen. So you want to always make sure that insurances are paid, and then obligations, so loans and credit cards. If you don't pay these, or if you don't talk to the collector and make sure these get paid and make arrangements, or if you don't pay these within a certain amount of time from your due date, those are the ones going back on your credit. And those are the ones, especially credit cards, which are very harmful when there's negative stuff reporting, very influential on your credit. All right, and then going down toward the lower priority things. These are things that are a little bit flexible. These are things that you can find alternatives for. So maybe your budget for food, you don't go buy a whole bunch of groceries until you can get these higher priority stuff paid, because maybe you can find cheaper options. Maybe you can go pick up some food, some free food that like a soup kitchen or something is selling. Maybe there are other options for that. You can go to a lot of these nonprofit organizations, and a lot of times you can get assistance for that, even in the short term. Also, personal items, anything that you use for your personal care, your nails, your hair, your hygiene, all that other stuff. Not that this is not a priority, but it's a lower priority, as far as you shouldn't be buying these things outside of what your basic living necessities until you get these things handled. Subscriptions, phone, cable, internet, that is the kind of thing that you have a little bit more of a grace period with, and you can also unsubscribe from them. You can, and a lot of times for subscriptions, if you say you're going to unsubscribe, a lot of times you can get a free month or a free couple weeks or something, that they're trying to retain you as a customer. And then so phone, all that stuff. You need a phone a lot of times to for work and all that stuff. But maybe you can, if you're with a major phone company, a lot of times you can make up a payment arrangement. Cable, internet, a lot of times you can make up a payment arrangement, but also a lot of these won't be getting reported to if you're like 60 days late. So these are things that if you pay these first, now you're worried about as soon as I can pay these, you're paying them. So paying as soon as feasible. Pay these first, and then thinking about what are the lower priorities, which you should pay as soon as feasible. Some notes that I like to think of when you're trying to get on track is don't ignore bills. Like I said earlier, communicate, right? Communicate. And then try to make arrangements. We talked about that. And then also try to not exceed 30 days without payment. So for a lot of these ones, this is why I say that they're lower priority, because a lot of times, unless you exceed 30 days, people won't even consider it a late payment. So it might be a late payment as far as what fees they'll charge you or whatever. But a lot of times, as far as credit, or as far as just that account in general, they won't consider that payment late until you're past 30 days. And then rotate these bills if necessary. So if you can pay all of these this time, and maybe one or two of these lower bills next time, then do it. Rotate bills as needed, but don't build up a habit or build up a pattern of late payments, especially consecutive late payments, because that harms you the most. What else? Like I said, the biggest thing is never let bills go 30 days without some kind of payment. So let's say you paid all these bills, you have $100 left. If you can pay $5 here or $20 there, something that lets them know that you are trying and you are making an effort towards paying these things, that is the best idea. And if that is not an option, continue to communicate with them and try to fix a plan, because these companies are built with people running them. So if you be a human and you communicate, a lot of times things will be worked out in your favor. All right, guys, that was a lot longer of a video than I intended. I hope some of that information helped. Some of those tips that I use. If you have any questions, or if you want to walk through this together and for your personalized situation, I am totally down for that. You can go to the link in my profile, if I'm on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever, or it's www.flyhighfae.com, and you can book an appointment so that we can do this together. Thanks, guys.